So a little bit of an update. So my Bluetooth is supposed to be noise canceling whenever both pieces are in. And they are. Unfortunately, whenever I'm riding my bike, it's trying to cancel out the wind. And since the wind is a little bit louder than my voice, it cancels out my voice too. So apparently that's a no-go, at least for riding. Anyway, on a far more important note, my oldest contacted me through text, of course. He was reluctant to tell me whose phone he was using, but apparently it's one that he's using as a replacement for the one he had that broke. So I suspect it was either his new phone and his mama didn't want him to give me his, didn't want to tell me that was actually his new phone, or that was his mama's new phone and she didn't want me to have her number. And if that's the case, I want to make sure that it's clear, because I know she's still got people watching my stuff. I don't want to talk to her, so I don't care if that is her number. I want to talk to my kids. Anyway, so far, he is the only one of my 4 kids that she has allowed me to talk to. Again, supervised visitation is not a no contact order. That just means that I cannot be with them without supervision. Whatever, the judge will handle that, or the judge won't handle that. Whatever happens is God's will. There was something else, and I'm trying to remember what it was. The reason I'm not walking around the woods right now is because it's coffee time. Yes, I know you can probably hear me drinking my coffee. What was the other thing? Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Early morning, I've always got junk in my lungs. I breathe really shallow when I sleep, I think. And it's been that way since I was a kid. There were times that I'd wake up not breathing at all. There was one time that I stopped breathing so long while I was asleep, and I was like, I don't know, 13? Anyway, I was like 13 or 14. Anyway, I woke up with my lungs burning. And it was really hard to inhale because I don't know if anybody has seen what happens to lungs whenever they've been deprived of air and all they have in them is CO2. They swell. And so I woke up with my lungs burning, and inhaling was very difficult. But eventually, obviously, that got taken care of, because I wouldn't be here if that weren't the case. But yeah, so I breathe really shallow, so a lot of junk builds up in my lungs. It's probably a diagnosable condition like sleep apnea or something, but I don't care. If it were going to kill me, it'd have killed me by now. Or maybe it'll kill me later. I don't know. I don't actually care, honestly. I got more important things to worry about than whether I live or die. And yes, there are more important things than that. Anyway, on to the thing I was actually going to say. This was a couple weeks ago, I guess. I had a conversation with her lawyer. We were talking about assets and all that stuff. I guess he was able to bring her to the table. I ended up signing settlement paperwork that was everything that I had been telling her I wanted from the start. But whenever I told her, without her having a lawyer, she was acting like I was trying to rob her. I don't know what's up with that. But one thing we were talking about, because she wants the restraining order, which includes the supervised visitation, to be permanent. And I said, absolutely not. And his response was, well, you've only made one call to the place is called Lola's house, which, by the way, doesn't even exist. It didn't exist whenever this supervised visitation order was issued. The lady had shut it down, and she was just trying to keep it going from her house for reasons that I can't state on open media. She doesn't do it at her house anymore, and she was doing it, at public places like parks and restaurants, stuff like that, and now she doesn't do it at all. So I can't even do the supervised visitation. It wouldn't matter if I was a millionaire. I still wouldn't be able to do the supervised visitation. But anyway, he told me, well, you've only called Lola's house once, and you've made no attempt to see your kids. Okay, now I've explained to everybody here on YouTube why. Okay, not only am I rebuilding my life, I'm rebuilding myself, and I'm having to do it while I'm losing money. Okay. So I said to him, how am I supposed to do that? And then I went through the reasons why I'm having financial issues. And for those of you who would like to say, oh, well, just get a job that pays more, okay? For every dollar more that you make, you lose time, okay? So if I go get a job that pays more than I make, then I lose the opportunity to see them. Anyway, I know a lot of people argue with that too. People who aren't in my situation aren't going to know about my situation. They're not going to understand. So argue all you want. But anyway, so I went through all the reasons why I'm not able to pay to see my kids. My kids have been turned into some sort of sideshow commodity. Anyway, I mean, the financial abuse started before the separation by about a year. I haven't had access to marital funds to which I am legally entitled. This is Texas, okay? Even during the divorce process, I am legally entitled to access to the marital funds. And I've been denied that since near the beginning of 23. And that's the big one. So anyway, I went through the whole list of things, and he didn't really have anything to say to that because you can't argue with logic. Actual logic, not this garbage that people are spouting saying it's logic. But you can't orchestrate everything to leave somebody completely bereft of funds and then blame them when they can't pay to see their children. So yeah, that was a fun discussion. So we're going to take that one to court. I'm not going to just play games with that one. Whatever the judge decides, the judge decides. I have to honor that. I have to respect that. But I'm not just going to do whatever she says anymore. I spent 16 years doing that. And I lost me. The first time we went through this whole supervised visitation order thing, I was still battling a whole lot of stuff. So I didn't have the emotional capacity to argue against it. Well, since then, there's been a whole lot of healing being done. I still got this whole people-pleasing thing that I'm battling. But I say no more often than I used to, so that's maybe not as big a deal as it was. Sorry if the coughing is too loud. I can't make it quieter. It hurts. But anyway, so that's an update. I'm kind of having a battle with myself right now. I know I said I didn't want to get married again. I didn't want another relationship. But at the risk of making myself look bad, which I guess at this point, nothing could make me look worse than I already do. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't care. But there's a woman I work with that I'm having a hard time not thinking about. I'm not going to say her name. That doesn't matter. And no, it's not my manager. There's absolutely no way that will ever happen. Even if I were all in, wholeheartedly looking for a relationship, that's never going to happen. And to her, if she watches my videos, which is unlikely, sorry for being blunt, but not really, but that's just never going to happen. Personality clashing to that degree? No. And I've already had enough of egos. Excuse me. Anyway, no. But, and the thing is like, I don't actually know her that well. And I ran across a video today about limerence, which is, you don't know somebody very well, but you're absolutely smitten with them. They actually say that's like a coping mechanism. So I'm resisting all urges, obviously. But she, with what encounters I've had, she seems like the kind of person that would definitely make you want to change your mind about not wanting a relationship. She's very, very sweet. Very sweet. When she talks, she's always smiling. It's almost like she wants you to want to engage more in conversation. And even if that's her entire personality is just wanting conversation, it's a really nice change from the women who just are looking for a way to benefit from you. I think about her a lot, and that bothers me. It's like I'm 15 again, and there's that girl that I have a crush on that I just can't stop thinking about, and all I want to do is hang out with her. Like I said, that bothers me. Because first of all, I'm 40 years old. My brain shouldn't be acting like that. I'm too old for that. And aside from all the things that I've dealt with, all the things I've been through because of women, not just my wife, but especially my wife. But I have nothing to offer. I mean, seriously, I've gone through this before. I've had, at the start of all this divorce nonsense, the separation. So we separated on January 6th, and January 9th was whenever I made my announcement, okay? That's where I live. Okay? I have nothing to offer her. Okay? My only road-worthy vehicle is my motorcycle. She's scared of bikes. I don't have money. I'm in the middle of a divorce. I have 4 kids I'm not allowed to see without spending money I don't have. I have no real prospects. My whole future is, these days, decided by a coin toss. Oh yeah, I don't know if that... So I'll get on that later. Anyway, I have nothing to offer any woman. Any. I don't care if the woman grew up in a trailer park in a dilapidated mobile home. I have nothing to offer any woman. I have no money. I'm living in a dilapidated, I won't say dilapidated, but not great, not completely sound. There we go, that's better. Not completely sound travel trailer on my parents' property, which, sorry to tell you this, whoever, if by some act of God I end up with somebody, I'm not leaving here again. At the end of our relationship, my wife had me living 2 doors down from her mother. We started in my brother's duplex, ended up in a house that we were renting just ourselves. Of course, we did have people living there. You know, funny thing is that was always a point of contention. You know, there'd be times that we had friends living with us. My friends, her friends. She didn't really have many friends. Just strong acquaintances, I guess. Anyway, we frequently had had some of my friends living there. Or with us, rather. But whenever we lost that place, we ended up living here with my parents. It wasn't the best situation, but it was a whole lot better than being homeless. And we moved back and forth a few times between here and her parents' place. At the end, we ended up living 2 doors down from her mother. And couple that with her intense need to separate me from my friends and family, isolate me is actually the word, or words, anyway. This is a very toxic situation, because that is what narcissists do. They try to isolate you from your friends and family, and they try to put you in a situation where you're as far from your family as possible and as close to theirs as they can make you. Mostly those who enable them. But off topic, I kind of deviated there, and I don't know, that little rabbit trail might get me in trouble in court, but whatever. God's more powerful than the judge. I don't care who the judge is. There's a spider web. Yeah, I had to duck under the web. They build their lines in trails, or their spider webs in trails, and they just basically string out tether lines at the corners to trees and brush and stuff like that. You gotta watch out for them whenever you're walking out in the woods. And yes, I'm back out in the woods, more or less. Oh, I ran into one. That one's gonna be very unhappy. Anyway, back to the purpose for that rabbit trail is I won't be leaving here. This is where I intend to spend the rest of my life. I intended originally to spend the rest of my life with my wife on the piece of property we bought together. But now that my plans were forced to change, and as bad as it sounds and as much as it hurts, probably for the better. Not on the part of my kids, because, you know, they're losing their father, which is not good. Yes, she's trying to convince everybody I'm an abusive father. I'm not. And that's all I'll say about that. But, yeah, I'm spending the rest of my life here. I might buy some property off this property. Sometime later as sort of a little getaway spot if I just feel like being alone and away from everybody. But this is where I live. I mean, I am completely sincere about building a cabin in the woods. Previous videos, I've got the spot picked out. It's where we used to set up our tents whenever I'd take my wife and kids camping. Sorry. But I've got an old mobile home that my brother and I actually bought together when I was 18. So he was, he's a year and a half younger than me. So he was 17. We bought that trailer together, the mobile home. And it's actually what my wife and I lived in when we first moved here after getting married. And, I did a lot of work to at least get one room ready for us. I liked it, she didn't. But I plan on fixing that place. It's going to be, maybe a workshop sort of thing. One end is going to have a music studio because I love music and I really want to get back doing my music. And then the other end is going to be a living quarters, either for me or somebody else, whatever. If my brother ends up living there or a friend of mine, okay. But I'm still going to build my cabin in the woods, and that is actually going to be my home. That's going to be my primary residence, is that cabin in the woods. Because I like being left alone. I like my time alone. I like my privacy. Despite what my frequent YouTube videos might suggest. I like my privacy. There are several reasons I've actually put all my worst decisions, all my skeletons out on YouTube. One of those reasons is actually because my wife told me that there's no chance of reconciliation. Sorry if I mispronounced that. My brain isn't really braining yet. That's what the coffee's for. Anyway, another one. There's not going to be any chance of reconciliation unless I make a public apology and admission of guilt for what I did when I was 14. Because that had everything to do with her. But ultimately, I made the decision to do that, to make all those admissions, because I looked at my life, I looked at myself, I looked at how difficult my life had been. I looked at my actions, not just the bad ones, but the good ones as well. I looked at my relationship with my wife and my past relationships with other women, and kind of came to a conclusion that even though all the bad things, subjectively bad things that have happened to me were the result of unrepented sin. Because repentance isn't just not doing it anymore. It is admissions of guilt come with that. Saying, this is what I did was wrong. And then taking an active role and reshaping. Hold on. Let me get my brain working again. Taking an active role in reshaping. There you go. I spilled my coffee. Your perception. Because nothing in you is changed without a change of perception. Okay. See if I can find this line here. Oh. Anyway. So I determined that all those weird happenstances were the result of unrepentant sin. So I make my admissions of guilt public, so no one can say that I'm trying to hide my sin. Nope, they're out there for the whole world to see. The only ones who can't see them are people under 18 years old, because of the nature of a number of those sins. I don't allow kids to see them. I'm sure there are plenty of people on her side of the fence that are very, very angry that I've posted some of the videos that I have talking about her. I kind of actually regret some of those videos because I was angry, but nothing that I said in those videos was untrue. Anyway, kids can't see those. Unless they lie about their age on YouTube, they can't see them. People on her side of the fence probably see those videos and think, oh, well, the kids are looking at this, and now the kids are hearing this about their mom. No, they're not. They're not. I put age restrictions on those videos. There are, I don't know, maybe 5 videos that aren't age restricted. The rest of them are age restricted. Only adults can see them. And I did that on purpose. So my kids, and specifically my kids, wouldn't hear me talking unkindly about their mother. I wish I had made those videos with a calmer heart. But the plus side to that, to those videos, making those videos angry, is that the people who are watching these videos, which are far fewer than they were, I'm amazed at how many people were watching these videos because they were my enemies and not because they wanted to see the videos. But the people who watch these videos because they need something to guide them through the same or a similar situation, they get to see that, yes, it starts with anger. It starts with anger. But it doesn't end with anger. I'm not mad at her anymore. I'm not sure I've forgiven her. And yes, unforgiveness is a sin. If you don't forgive those who sin against you, God won't forgive you. That is in Scripture. I want to be able to forgive her. But her attacks are so intentional. And I know that shouldn't have any bearing on it, but that's something I'm still working on. There was a time I didn't actually battle with unforgiveness. But between a very, very dishonorable man and my wife, I've found that there are points that I have difficulty forgiving. But I'm not angry at her anymore. I pity her. I pity the fact that her mind is so much on justifying herself, making herself seem more perfect and less what she really is, that she can't even grow. Any changes that she exhibits are surface level only. Because the truth is, you cannot improve unless you can say, I'm wrong. And that's in anything. Because to say that you're right means that there is nothing to change. So you can't change. I keep spilling my coffee. Anyway, the only way you can change is to admit that you're wrong. So I pity the fact that she is incapable of change because she can't say that she was wrong. There are things that I've found out in the last 6 months that if she could be honest about those things, then we could actually meet on equal footing. And I mean that on a spiritual and emotional level, not on a legal level, because in family law, the woman always has the upper hand. Always. And our judge, the judge that presides over all this stuff in our county, is a woman. So I'm already at a severe disadvantage. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. You can't change if you can't say that you're wrong. And that's where I'm at now with her. Is I pity the fact that she is incapable of change. I'm not angry anymore. I'm kind of angry at myself though. And I know this video is kind of long. It's been a while since I posted one this long, and that's just because I haven't really done a long, solid update. Or rather, I haven't done a solid update in a while. But I'm kind of angry at myself because I was foolish enough to believe that if you just tried harder, then the other person would recognize it and want to do better themselves. But as it turns out, most people are actually very self-centered. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. If you take it that way, don't take it that way, whatever. But most people are really self-centered. They'll look at things that they gain and say, okay, well now I want more. I gained this without doing that, so I don't have to do that in order to gain more of it. I just wait for more to come. And if I don't get it, well then I'll give you less of what I'm already giving you. And that was the nature of our relationship. She never gave more. She would only give less if she didn't get what she wanted. Oh, look. Snake. It's not snakes not on the ground. There's evidence of a snake having been on the ground. I'm going to show you, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, because maybe you're from the city and you don't see this sort of thing, or you just don't go out in the wilderness, as it were. See, yeah, there it is. See that right there? Looks like somebody dragged a hose across the dirt. Well, technically that's what happened. That is a snake track. Very similar to, any animal track, but because snakes don't have feet, it looks like somebody just dragged a hose or a rope across the dirt, because technically speaking, that's what happened. In the absolute most basic sense, to unnecessarily elaborate. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, that's right. Most people, okay, I'm going to go into survival. So if you look at nature, animals specifically, they will put in the least amount of effort possible to obtain what they need to survive. Okay? And in nature, in the animal kingdom, where they kill each other for food, or just because they're in the wrong territory, that works. That's normal. But we're humans. We're not animals. I know there are a whole lot of people who believe in evolution that'll argue that, but there are a whole lot of reasons why we are different than animals. And you don't even have to look at a spiritual perspective to see that. But anyway, I'm starting to think that people with those tendencies to take more than they give, to expect more than they will ever give, those people are living in a sort of survival mode, but not because of trauma or anything like that. Or maybe it is because of trauma. I don't know. But because they've seen that it's possible to give less and get more. All you have to do is find somebody who is empathetic or just strongly desires to please people. And you give them what they want and what they need in the beginning, and then slowly take that away, knowing that that person who has an intense desire to make you happy will give more in hopes that you'll give back what you took. And the problem is that never works. I didn't realize that until after the relationship ended. That the more I gave, sorry, I don't know how to censor that. Oh well. The more that I gave, the less I got back. And when I dialed it back, she'd become angry. And then I'd get even less back. So, yeah. So the reason, back to the reason I said all that, I am angry with myself. Because instead of seeing what was really happening, I looked at the situation and said, well, it's my fault. I need to just give more. And that was actually the problem, because I was giving more than she was willing to give. So, if you are giving more than the other person on a consistent basis, stop giving and leave. So now I'm the villain in her story because she doesn't want to change. She doesn't want to believe that she's done anything wrong. Okay, it's not that she doesn't want to change. It's that what it requires in order to change is something that she can't do, and that is see herself as someone who's done wrong. In her mind, she is not wrong. No matter what pain she has caused, she's not wrong. There was one conversation we had, and now keep in mind, I'm not talking about my wife so I can badmouth my wife. I'm talking about a situation that involved my wife, so other people who have gone through or are going through this situation can see it clearly. Okay? Because right now, her big thing is I cheated on her. And I won't go through the big reason why that has actually become quite irrelevant. Like I said, I've learned a lot in the last 6 months. Okay, coffee gone. But I've forgotten where I was going with that. Anyway, so this is after she found out that I cheated on her. I talked about how through our relationship, consistently, from literally the exact day we got married, not a few days later, no, the day we got married is when it changed. Talked about how there wasn't just a loss of intimacy, but thoughtfulness, consideration, affection of all kinds, severely diminished the day we got married. And it just declined throughout our relationship. And I brought that up, and she said, well, you cheated on me. Okay, we got married in 2007. I cheated on her in 2009. There was still that period from 2007 to the time I cheated on her that she was doing that. So she was blaming something that hadn't even happened yet for her change of behavior. Okay, so the first clue that something is wrong is not even that. It's that instead of saying, yes, I'm doing this because I feel this way or I want this, she says, it's your fault. If they can't take accountability for what they've done, if they cannot say, yes, I did that and it was my fault, I made that decision, it was on me. If they can't do that, leave them immediately. Either go find someone else or spend the rest of your life alone. Doesn't matter, just get away from them. People who can't say they're wrong, people who can't take accountability for their actions, those people will destroy you. Because those are the people that will give you only so much, and when they realize that they can give you less and still receive the same level of giving that you have shown them, they will dial it back. And then they'll keep doing that, because then they'll eventually see that the more they dial back, the harder you try. And the problem with that is it gets to the point where they start making demands. Well, now you have to do this for me. Okay, well, what about you? Why are you still backing off while I'm going in? Why are you making this demand when you haven't fulfilled this? And it's going to make them mad. But they're not willing to reciprocate. Leave. Now, if it's an occasional thing, something that happens just when they're like having a bad day or something like that, that's different. I mean, if she's stressed out and she don't want to have fun with you because she's stressed out, that does not mean she's toxic. That means she's stressed out. That happens. She's a human being. I mean, seriously, do you want to fix the kitchen sink when you've already worked a full day? No. Are you going to? Yeah, because you're a guy. That's our feelings don't matter. Apparently our needs don't matter either. But anyway, her being stressed out is one thing. But if it is a constant, consistent thing where, you know, she hasn't allowed you to even touch her for an entire year, not even so much as holding her hand or giving her a kiss, well, that's not because she's in a bad mood. That's not because that's not because she's stressed out. That's because she's abusing you. Yeah, that's abuse. That is abuse. Abuse is not just beating on someone or screaming at them. It's also neglect, disregard. Think of what would be considered abuse to a child that doesn't involve hitting or screaming. And that very same thing is also abuse in a relationship. Okay? That is how it works. Talk to any psychologist, counselor, or therapist, they'll say the same thing. Neglect in a relationship is abuse. Abandonment in a relationship is abuse. Disregard in a relationship is abuse. One-sided expectations or one-sided boundaries, that's abuse. And for anybody who doesn't quite get that, because I know not everybody who watches my videos is going to be real strong with the English language, or maybe with this culture. I don't know. Anyway, one-sided expectation is whenever somebody expects something from you that they are not willing to do themselves. Like if they expect you to work after you've just worked 16 hours. You work at the house. But they're not willing to put any work in themselves. That's a one-sided expectation. Like if, say, for instance, you just got done working 16 hours Say, for instance, completely hypothetical, loading and unloading U-Haul trucks for 16 hours, up and down stairs to the point where your body is almost incapable of moving. Then you get home and she wants you to watch the kids, wash laundry, and then wash the dishes. And you do that. And then whenever night comes, she just goes to sleep, knowing that you wouldn't mind having a little affection. That's a one-sided expectation. Okay, one-sided boundaries. Very similar, except the other direction. She is allowed to say, well, if you do this, I'm out of here. Or if you do this, I'm gone. But if you say that, you're abusing her. That's that's one-sided boundary. Okay, that is abuse. So, yes, there is such a thing as abuse in a relationship that doesn't involve screaming or hitting. Get out of that relationship. If you are in a relationship and anything is consistently one-sided, leave. One-sided affection, one-sided expectations, one-sided boundaries, one-sided contributions. Leave. End it. It's over. Because if you stay, there won't be anything of you left by the time they end it. Because they will end it once they've stolen all of your soul from you and left you like completely hollow. Okay? Don't do what I did. Don't stay thinking that you're going to be able to give enough of yourself to make that other person happy, because that's not going to happen. They're just going to keep taking till there's nothing left to take, and then they're going to throw you away because you don't have anything for them anymore. Now they've got to go find somebody else to take it from. So anyway, that's what I'm mad about. I'm mad at myself for not being wise enough to see those things. And yes, I am still mad at myself for the things that I did when I was younger. Even as recently as 35. The last time I cheated on my wife. 5 years ago. Almost 5 years. Hold on. No, not quite 5 years ago. I was 35 and I was going to turn 36 that year. But anyway, so it's 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. And the weird thing is it hasn't quite been a year since the separation. And I don't even feel like the same person anymore. Like I woke up from a coma and had all the memories of the person or entity that occupied my body for all those years. Now, I know that's kind of a stretch, and no, I'm not saying, oh, well, you know what, I'm not accountable because I wasn't really there. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, I don't even feel like that person anymore. I don't feel like I'm the same person. Like I'm a completely different person. And I'm happy about that. I still lament all the things I've lost. I've lost friends, hobbies, skills, health. I mean, whenever I met her, I was 190 pounds. I had no fat on me. I was healthy. I was extremely healthy. And within that first year of marriage, I gained 50 pounds. First year, it didn't take long for me to gain 100 pounds. It really didn't. because my life became about her. But hers didn't become about me. So, again, one-sided. If anything is one-sided in your relationship, leave. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I don't feel like the same person. And that is a good thing. I just want to get back what I've lost. And, I don't know, gain some stuff I never had. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. It's been almost an hour. Sorry to those of you who can't stand to watch this video that long. I know this one's not going to get a whole lot of views simply because it is so long. That's fine. But like I said, it's the first solid update video I've posted in a while, and I had a lot to say. Just want this to be a reminder that this channel is meant to catalog my journey from separation to healing, so people can have maybe some sort of visible, tangible guide through divorce, through even high conflict or abusive divorce situations. So I'm going to leave all those angry videos up so people can see that no matter how angry you are right now, it will get better if you're willing to do the work to change. Again, you have to be able to say, I'm wrong, in order to be able to change. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be able to. And if you're okay with that, you're the problem. Anyway, whatever you do, try to be better.